back, everyone, to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast, the only show where the love of horror movies meets the culture of punk. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
What?
That was just
I think
a different intro.
We'll see.
I mean, I liked it. I like it.
Well, because we're getting more official, so we gotta let new people know what we're all about, just in case.
Okay.
If the bio doesn't explain it well enough. But we're here today to remind you that if you drive the speed limit on the highway, you won't get pulled over.
Yeah, not 10 under.
Or
like if you see the flashing blue and red lights in front of you, just go the speed limit. You don't need to slow down.
No.
You don't need to go to 30 on a 75. God.
I've seen that before.
Dude, that's how it was the entire drive down yesterday. It was fucking done. Like there was no accidents.
Right.
It was like some people got pulled over or whatever,
right.
But then just everyone would slow to a screeching halt. It's like, why? Why?
I don't know. It's one thing that makes me mad about living here is whenever there's like a deer that crosses the road, everyone has to stop to look at the deer. And I'm like...
It's just a giant rodent. Deer is a fucking rodent.
It's not the last deer in the world. I'm telling you this right now. Can we, like, stop halting traffic?
Oh my god, it's like Bambi's dad. Well, I hope he gets shot like Bambi's mom.
Like, it's still old. It happened years ago, but it was when I was, like, in high school. But it wasn't when I was in high school. It was when I first moved down. I visited my parents. I went with my mom. And I went shopping with her. And, like, we were on... And so, like, if you're in Colorado and you live here, you'll know what I'm talking about. But we took this service road, and it was Kipling and I think it was Quincy. And back then the road didn't have construction on it, so it was a lot skinnier. It was just 1 lane to 2 lanes, or I think it was. And so, anyways, as we were going down, there's this huge like traffic.
Sorry,
it's okay.
I'm probably gonna be gassy during this. I'm not gonna lie.
It's okay.
I apologize to you now.
It's okay. I got the fan on.
That's good.
So, but anyways, we were driving down that road, and just like there was this huge pile of traffic. Because we came back from Costco, I think it was, and right there, it was this huge backup traffic, and we looked to see what's going on, and like 5 cars were pulled over to look at one deer drinking water at the creek that was by the apartments right there. And I was like, for fuck's sakes, people, it's not the last deer in the world. And my mom's like, I know.
It's so beautiful.
No, my mom hated it too. She was mad as well.
Good.
It's like, yes, equal mother and daughter anger.
Mother-daughter?
Yeah, I don't like to assume my gender. Mother and son. It's Sunday. This is usually our off days, but because it's a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, and also I just been feeling like crap all weekend. There was no way I was going to record last night.
Yeah, because I had to finish watching my movie for the review for today.
Yeah.
And, I could tell you were just like, at the end of it, you're just like, I need soup.
Yeah, my mom she makes the best soup, and she made this, this type of chicken noodle where she used like an entire ginger root and everything. It was so good. Interesting.
I've never had it. I've only had your mom's pie.
If you're actually sick, ginger root's really good in soup. You want to use a lot of ginger and lemon.
I know ginger's good for like your vocal cords and like even the singer of...
yeah, if you have coughs, ginger's really good.
Yeah, what's her name? I forget her name, but the singer from For Against Me will actually, I heard a long time ago, actually eat ginger to like keep her vocal cords like actual like healthy. It's
relaxing and soothing for your vocal cords.
Yeah, so there you go. The nice thing to know is if you're going to drink any soda, at least drink ginger ale. Right now, I'm drinking Mountain Dew, so... Do. Oh, that's another thing I want to remind people of. Mountain Dew doesn't actually lower your sperm count. It's a huge myth.
I thought it was Surge.
No, it's a huge myth.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah. So...
Just like, vaccines cause autism.
Oh, God.
Sorry, the only reason why I bring that up is because it's been all over my Facebook, where it's like, the Oxford, researchers at Oxford have proven that vaccines don't cause autism. God.
I can't believe you had to prove that.
I know. Well, and again, even if it did, would you rather have a kid who's on the spectrum or a kid that's dead?
Yeah, I know.
I would choose...
I agree. I mean, I would choose Spectrum. I mean, it's kind of like... I I mean, maybe it's. I'm wondering if it's not that cut and dry, but I think maybe for some people it is that cut and dry. You know?
I guess. I don't know. I just think it's funny where so like I don't know if we talked about it on here, but that meme where some chick posted on Twitter.
Yeah,
I'm an anti-vax mom, and there's a spread of measles, and I just want to know what will help my child not get the measles.
Yeah, we talked about that last
time. It's still fucking funny.
That was a funny thread.
Yeah, that was so good. It was like, well, you should probably just kiss them goodbye. Start again.
You'll get it right next time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, we're starting to get a little more annoyed, a little more angry, and with that, we're gonna go into our segment, something we love and hate, where we talk about something we love and hate that has happened recently in the past week, or month, or even today. So, Cody, what is something you love and hate?
Something I hate is like whenever I feel ill, it's always at the worst times. Like, okay, so like. When I have a gout outburst, like flare up, or when I just get like super sick, like I am now, it's always like right when I have to go back to work. It's never like the start of my weekend, so I can take the couple days to just like do nothing. No, it's right when I have to go back to work. And it's super annoying because then I end up missing out on work and stuff like that, because it's like, you know, I work in the food industry, so if I'm like how I am now, where it's super contagious, like it can be contagious or anything, like I can't go to work.
Yeah.
Like I have to call out, and it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, why can't I have just done this like at the end of my shift when I'm actually tired?
Yeah, I mean, you've been pushing through for these recordings, so I mean, I hate that too, because it reminds me of the time like I was sick and like went up to record, and like, you sure you're gonna make it? I'm like, I'm all right. I got this.
And then. But I got a couple things that I love. One is I love my mom. Like, she knows I've been feeling really sick, and like I said earlier, she made me some special soup. And then the other thing that I love is that Kingdom Hearts 3 is nowhere near as good as everyone's been making it out to be. And the fact that I picked Resident Evil 2 for my Valentine's gift from Dev instead of Kingdom Hearts 3 makes me so happy about that.
Right.
Like, oh my god! So don't get me wrong, like, because I wasn't a Kingdom Hearts fan when it first came out and stuff like that. Mostly because like I wasn't into the whole JRPG turn based, and I thought that's how it was. Yeah. Not the real time combat.
No, you thought it was like Final Fantasy, like 7 or 10 or whatever.
And I was never a huge fan of turn based combat. Like, just in my head, I'm like, this makes no sense. Right. Like, the only turn based that I like was Pokemon. Yeah. And so, I just now got into Kingdom Hearts, and I've been playing the first one, and I'm like, it's fun. Like, I'm a little upset that I didn't play it then, but at the same time, like, now I'm not going to be one of those people that was like, bitched and complained for 13 years for this game. Yeah. And then it's just an empty shell of what it could have been. Your words.
No, I'm straight up, and I stand by it. And even before it came out, I knew that it was going to be nowhere near what we're wanting it to be. Oh yeah. And you can look. There's only been very few games that have been like in development hell that have actually come out that were just as good.
Doom 2016 is the only one recent that I can think of.
I really want to say StarCraft 2. Or I think it was StarCraft 2. I could be wrong. Someone's probably going to call me out on that. But yeah, Doom is a great example. That came out, was amazing. Blew people away. But like, and then you have like Duke Nukem Forever.
You know, I still will argue I like that game.
And that's fine, you like it. But you can't deny that like...
Oh no, there's issues.
Yeah, and after all the years of it being in development hell, it's not what it could have been.
No, it should have been Doom 2016, but with Duke Nukem instead. Yeah. Like, it literally should have just been that.
No, straight up. And that's my thing with Kingdom Hearts 3, is that it just feels like an expansion on the 2. And I know that's a really huge stretch for me to make, but there's like parts of the game where it does feel that way, and there's parts of the game where it doesn't feel that way. Where it does feel that way is when you get really cool worlds, like, you know, Monstropolis or, you know, San Francisco, and they just feel empty and are blech. Yeah. Like, they don't have that charm that a lot of the other worlds did in KH2 and KH1.
I bet it was just Square Enix just finally going, you know what, fine, fuck it, just have the goddamn game.
Well, but yeah, that's fine and all, but if you're going to take 13 years, like, include the things that made your first 2 entries strong.
I know. And so, like, so I saw a poll where it said, what was the best game that came out in January? January, right? Yeah. January. Resi 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well, I think Kingdom Hearts 3 came out in, like, January 29, so it was, like, really at the end.
Yeah, but those were, like, the 2 biggest, like, exciting games that were coming out in January. Yeah. And more people said Kingdom Hearts 3 just because Kingdom Hearts does have a bigger fan base than Resident Evil, which is weird, in my opinion. Resident Evil's been around longer, but, like, overall as an actual game, Resi 2 is so much better.
Oh, no,
like, and the thing that I'm liking about it is, like, the campaign actually isn't that long.
Right.
So, like, it's only, like, about 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours if you're taking your time. But, like, you have to play it multiple times, and that's what I'm liking about it.
Right.
Is that, like, I'm chugging along in it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And I just think it's funny that in hindsight, once, like, all the hype for Kingdom Hearts 3 kind of died down, everyone's kind of, like, now I'm starting to see a lot more people like, yeah, what the fuck is up with this game?
Yeah, I will, as narcissistic as it sounds, say I was not one of those people that, like, was super excited for it, because I'm like, I want to wait till I play this game till I know, like, if I actually enjoy it or not. And
yeah, well,
I'm gonna say right now, Kingdom Hearts 2 was the peak of the entire saga.
Well, I just think it's funny because, like, every single time that they re-released another the Kingdom Hearts packages, you're like, yep, well, all right, cool, I guess. You know, you could just give me 3, and then, you know, Harrison's been going on his Bender's, like, fucking, like, 5-minute rant fest. They're so fucking funny. Oh my god, I love seeing Harrison get so mad about something he's so passionate about. And, like, except I'd always give him shit. I'm like, you never beat the first one. How can you be this passionate about it?
Yeah.
And he's like, I beat 2. And I was like, but you never invested all the way into the game. She's like, they kept releasing handheld releases. Like, what the fuck? And I was like, but you never beat the first one.
That's no excuse. Just
so
because handheld releases get released, that doesn't mean you stop.
And then he finally beat the first one the other night. And it was just so funny because he was like, I had to level up 30 times just to beat the final boss.
Dude, the final boss is the easiest boss in the game.
Well, see, this is what I think is funny. Is like, so Harrison, I love the guy, but he's honestly only really good at certain types of games.
Right.
Like Halo, he could actually mop the floor with me, which surprises me because he sucks at Destiny.
Yeah.
But he can mop the floor with my ass in Halo. And that he did, like, and yet the games that he loves the most, he's really not the best at, because, like, I was under-leveled for a lot of the stuff in Kingdom Hearts where he was.
Yeah.
And yet I was, like, breezing through that game, and he's going back and, like, leveling up. He's like, God damn it! Like, this one night when one of the fights with Riku, I could just hear him, like, freaking the fuck out downstairs. And get so mad, and I'm just sitting in my bed, like, playing Resident Evil 2, and I just hear, motherfucker! And, like, I thought he was gonna throw his controller, and I go downstairs, and I was like, you alright there, bud? He was like, fuck this game! Fuck this guy!
I will say, to be fair, that Riku fight in the first game, if you're not prepared, is a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, and then he had looked at me with this sad puppy dog eyes, he's like, do you have to beat Sephiroth to beat the game? And I was like, no, Harrison.
Actually, to 100% it, you do.
Shh.
To 100% it and get the secret endings, you have to.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to beat Sephiroth. You have to collect all the Dalmatians. You have to...
You got all the dogs, so
you have to do all the Trinity finds. So, yeah, you have to. You have to 100% that game in order to get the secret ending.
Is that, like, the true ending?
I think so, yeah. I think it is the true ending. It's been a minute since I played it because I told Harrison that the easiest way to beat Sephiroth, get the Ultima weapon. Yeah. Just get the Ultima. It might take you at least 3 tries to beat him, but once you know what attacks to avoid,
yeah,
because he only has one attack that can instantly KO you in the first game. Mm-hmm. There's other ones that can do massive damage, but with that Ultima weapon,
yeah,
like you can take off chunks of his health way before.
Okay.
Like it's easy to do it, and with 1.5, you just have it's what I told him is like you gotta go back to the Law of the Worlds and find the secret Heartless.
Yeah,
because that's the only way you get the items for the the more powerful weapons.
Yeah, no, so I just thought it was funny because he's like, it's like Dark Souls, and I was like, it's not.
It's not like Dark Souls.
I was like, it's not.
To an extent, the Sephiroth fight can be like a Dark Souls fight, but I would say it's more like probably one of the first fights that you would experience in Dark Souls.
Yeah, which I'm still not gonna play Dark Souls.
I'm gonna get it for you, and we're gonna play because I think it's coming on the Switch, and I'm
planning. It already is that on the Switch.
I'm gonna get one for me and you on the Switch, and we're gonna get through it together.
No.
We could do it.
All right, as long as like the Switch version like worked out all the bugs, because that's the thing that was pissing me off in that first one.
Oh yeah, by this point it has all the bugs worked out. Like they even
because like, okay, so like when I was playing the first Dark Souls, I was enjoying it. I was like, you know, and like I totally got the it's hard but fair type thing, and I was just like I was getting through it, and then like I can't even get past the first real boss, which is the Tauros demon on the bridge. Okay, I will say one thing. This is what pisses me off about all Souls-like games. All of them. And, like, so I just downloaded Dead Cells, which is, like, a 2D side-scrolling roguelike Dark Souls-esque Metroidvania game.
Right.
And it's fun. And, honestly, it's not as hard as it's making it out. Like, I noticed it's really... you have to... If you have a certain weapon that you like, it's really not as hard as, like, I was thinking it was going to be.
Right.
Like, I'm actually enjoying it really... a lot, but like the weapon that I like is the electric whip, and it's just once you get it, it's just like shuffling through trying to get it. But the thing that pisses me off about all Dark Souls like games is the first real boss is always on a fucking bridge.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, there's usually a way to get past it without having to fight them.
Not the Tauros demon.
I could have sworn there is.
You have to beat him to get through it.
Oh.
It's Bloodborne. You don't have to fight the cleric beast. He's a secret boss.
Oh,
but
I took him on earlier. Anyways,
and so when I was playing the first Dark Souls on the 360, I was like enjoying it, and then I got to the Tauros demon. I was like, okay, I know you have to learn the patterns, and so I learned his pattern. And I learned what you have to do. You have to climb this little ladder, and then get him under it, and then you do your dive attack, and then you run to the side. You have him go to the side, and then you dive under his legs when he does one of his attacks, and you climb up, and that's how you beat him. But the thing is that I dove to the side,
right,
and he swung, and somehow the fucking hit thing, he swung the opposite direction where I was, and instead it hit me, and it flung me off the bridge, and that's when I was like, nope, fuck this game, I'm done. I quit. No, fuck this. You know, the whole, like, it's hard but fair? No, that was not fair. That was just fucking bullshit, and then I gave up. Fuck that game.
I hear you.
So.
I hear you.
Yeah. But, yeah, the thing I love the most is My Mom's Soup, and Resident Evil 2 remake is 10 times better than Kingdom Hearts 3.
Gotta swallow that up. Gotta swallow that truth.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
I mean, I had something else that I hated, but I can't think of it now. It was actually something that was really bugging the shit out of me for a while, and I don't even know if I wrote it down, because I thought I did. Let me check if I did. Boop boop. Skidoop. Skibbity boop bop wop wop wop. Nope, I didn't write it down. So, I guess the thing I just kind of hate is just... really Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, I just as a fan, I feel really let down. Like and what kind of makes me mad is that there's going to be fans that will blindly follow and love it and not point out its faults. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you can't love something, but you can't deny the faults with this game.
Yeah.
Like we need to hold Square Enix accountable. We need to hold like companies like EA accountable for the products that they're making. If we're going to buy it and if we're going to play it, they need to actually deliver on an experience that they've been hyping up for years upon years upon years.
Oh, yeah, like that's exactly what happened with EA and Battlefront 2. And yet, for whatever reason, Disney still won't pull the licensing, even though they like threatened EA that we're going to pull the licensing of the Star Wars games from you.
I wonder if they're going like...
No, they decided not to. They decided to let EA do it, and then EA just canceled the single-player Star Wars game that they were going to do.
Yeah, EA's
again.
EA's a moron, and Square Enix is pissing me off. They're not the same like JRPG kings they used to be, and I will stand by that statement. Mm-hmm. Can they make a JRPG game that's good? Sure. Do they?
Yeah.
Like, I guess to an extent it's good, but it's not like the experiences that we've all had with a lot of their classic games, whether it's Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, or 10, or even some of their more underappreciated titles as well. Like, it's just not the same. And even Kingdom Hearts, like Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, which I'm still going to say is the peak of the entire series. It's Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 2.5 even, which has like loads of like secret bosses, way more stuff that you can unlock and synthesize and create. Like, it was top notch. Like, it was great. And it's just such a, like, it's just kind of like a real shit on the fans kind of moments. Because, like, you stalled this game for 13 years. You made excuses that you want the right software for it. That you want to make, they've even said we want to create the right experience and end the story on a good note. And then they give us subpar, like, effort to it. Yeah. They take out a lot of the worlds that everyone loves, and the ones that they include, they don't even, like, include the things that made them great. Like, the Olympus, there is no Colosseum mode. Which I know some people didn't like it, but I also know a lot of people love the Colosseum mode.
I like the Colosseum.
I did too. One. It was dope. Like, when you get, like, to have those random matches where you fight, like, Leon and, like, Yuffie, like, that was fucking dope. Like, it would have been sick to have a Colosseum match where you can actually fight Cloud and Tifa. That would have been fucking dope. Like, or even if you could fight Auron this time.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been sick, but no. And then that just kind of, like, what pisses me off is that they said...
what also would have been cool, like, if they added the Final Fantasy 15 characters.
But they didn't, and that's my thing, is that Final Fantasy 15 characters are in Soul Calibur, or, like, Tekken.
Yeah.
But they're not in Kingdom Hearts. Like, and the director's whole fucking excuse is like, oh, there was no reason for them to be in the story. And I'm like, yet we need the whole, like, Let It Go song, and do you want to build a Snowman song in Frozen? Go fuck yourself. There is no goddamn reason for those full-length songs to be in the goddamn game. Like, and yet you're saying there's no reason for the Final Fantasy character? Like, fuck you. That was the whole reason why Kingdom Hearts was amazing and appealing when it came out, was the fact that we had Disney and Final Fantasy. It was fucking amazing to see Cloud and Donald in the same shared universe. Like, that was exciting. And it's just... Nope, it's just mostly Pixar movies. And I got nothing against the Pixar movies, but even then, they don't really do it any justice.
Yeah, and there's, like, plenty of characters that would have, like, mashed up. Like, Cloud and Sephiroth would be dope in Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Like,
if they met there...
Like, think about the animated movie, I always forget what it's called.
Advent Children.
Yeah, Advent Children. You know how big scale their fight was in the middle of that city? Could you imagine that with, like, the Big Hero 6 characters fighting all the Heartless around while, like, Cloud's fighting Sephiroth?
That would have been fucking sick.
Yeah.
But, or, like, they could have even tied in a storyline where Sephiroth somewhat gets recruited for the Organization 13. Mm-hmm. And then Cloud would have even played a more major part, being like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
like that would have been fucking sick. No, and you know what they do in this game, though? They kind of, like, it's supposed to be a nod to the Final Fantasy characters, but I'm taking it as a big dicking to the fans. So when, like, you go to the Toy Story world, it opens up with a cutscene that looks like they're introducing some sort of Final Fantasy characters, but really, it's like a parody of, like, Final Fantasy 15 created for the world of Toy Story. And, like,
God.
yeah, like, Rex is just like, it was like, oh my god, we gotta get this game! You know, like, and it's that, and then, like, he's like, I need to get the guide so I can beat Bahamut. And I'm like, fuck you. You're not even gonna show Bahamut, and you're just gonna be like, Rex needs to beat Bahamut? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just really mad at the game.
Because you just need to let it go.
No. I need to be angry about this. I want to build a bloody snowman. No. Out of pure hatred. I'm just so disappointed.
Unpopular opinion for both of us. Frozen's not that good.
I agree.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's our unpopular opinion. Yeah. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. But then, like, I also, after the movie, I was like, I mean, it was good, but it's nowhere near as fantastic as everyone's making it out to be. Like, Moana is so much better.
That's another discussion for another day, though.
Yeah.
Sorry. So the thing I love, though, is it was Friday night. I went to Colorado Punk Rock Army's Valentine's show that they were throwing down here at X Saloon. Well, it used to be X Saloon. It's now called like the Silver Spur Saloon. Mm-hmm. And so I went there, and it was actually just like I got really happy because it was like one of those times where it was like in somewhat kind of like underground punk show where it's just like a bunch of people hanging out and like happy to like be there. And so like Andy and Phil from CPR were there, and like I got to hang out with Devin from Barry Mia, which they were on the podcast. If you haven't listened to that band showcase episode, please do so. They're coming out with some great stuff. So, anyways, but it was just nice to kind of like hang out and talk to everyone because like I talked to Andy for like a solid like 30 or so minutes just about horror movies, and like he got so excited and was like really excited. Like I saw his like eyes light up, and I was like, oh man, like because he just was happy to talk to someone about horror, and I know what that feels like when you can actually talk to people about horror movies. And like get that excited, and then like I was just talking to like Devin, and we were talking about like the Sabroso festival that's coming up, and like Blink-182, and like why they're not doing as good as they used to, and like it was just really cool because like I wore my my vest, and it has like a big like Eddie Iron Maiden Killers on the back of it, and then this chick came up and she's like, hey, you should come out and check out this Iron Maiden cover band, and I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. It was last night, but we were recording. And so she's like, yeah, I hope to see you there. And I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. That'd be great. Like, it was just kind of like a lot of like really like nice camaraderie. Like, I got a free drink from the bar there. Well, I shouldn't say I got a free drink from the bar. Devin gave me his other free drink because he had like 2, I think, drink tickets, and he gave me his other one. I was like, oh, nice, thanks, man. And so it was just nice. Like, it was just like nice to talk to like a bunch of like people who were into horror and just like punk rock, and it was just that nice like homey kind of feeling. And one thing I pointed out to Devin when I was talking with him, and I got to meet his wife. His wife's amazing. I'm pretty sure she likes to go by Abby. So she's amazing. But one thing I pointed out to him, I was like, when I'm not at stuff like this, like whether it's my current job or somewhere else, I do feel a lot out of place, and it's just like I feel like I have to watch what I say so I don't come off weird or anything like that.
Yeah.
But here it feels a lot more natural. And it's just a true statement. Like, because if I'm not hanging out with you, or just, like, any of my friends, really, I'm just, like, I feel like I have to wear a facade, but I think everyone does to an extent. And I guess that's just the point I'm getting at. It was a cool night. I was just happy to go hang out with some people and check out I didn't get to see the full set. I got to see the last band, Filthy Hearts, who killed it. I don't know if they listen to us, but if they do, shout out, you guys killed it. Yeah, it was really cool.
Nice.
So that's the thing I love. So yeah, with that being said, we need to go ahead and start going forward to our movie reviews.
Yeah.
So I like how we keep saying we're going to try to keep these things.
Well, you know what? Like, I feel like this is our good like beginning segment. So
yeah, I'd like to think people enjoy hearing talking about it, us talking about what happens in our worlds.
Yeah.
So I would assume they do.
Yeah. I mean, they keep listening. So
yeah. So
we're just gonna lose a lot of listeners because we said Kingdom Hearts 3 isn't as good.
They're gonna be so mad. It's like, you son of a bitch! It's the best game of the year.
No. Oh, that was something I thought was really cool. Okay, so I know a lot of people are shitting on Sony right now because of the cross-platform stuff.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, this is weird. So Microsoft and Nintendo are, like, bringing Xbox Live to the Switch, which I still don't 100% understand what's going to be going there, especially seeing as how Nintendo just released their online subscription stuff, like Nintendo Online.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're just going to, like, nix that and just, like, use Xbox Live, which I could totally see them doing because
I'm assuming it's just a way to do crossplay, but then again,
yeah, but I think that's all it is just how they can do crossplay.
Yeah, like Fortnite and Apex Legends, and
I don't think Apex is on the Switch.
Well, I mean, if it ever comes on the Switch.
Yeah.
So I think you went first last time. So alrighty then. So today we're talking about psychological horror movies and those that are related to our Monday theme, which is psychological horror. And so I decided to do 2017's Mother, because there's an exclamation point on the end.
Yeah, I know. This was such a controversial movie.
So that's what I decided to do my review on. It's directed by Darren Aronofsky, written by Darren Aronofsky, stars Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, and Ed Harris. And there's actually, and I think Michelle Pfeiffer's in it too. There's a few like notable stars in this entire movie. But the premise of the movie is a couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive at their home, disrupting their tranquil existence. So, if you've seen this movie, you kind of already know how twisted it is. But to be fair, like Darren Aronofsky is like a really like fucked up kind of like director in subtle ways, like in because he did that movie Noah with what's his name, Russell Crowe.
Yeah, that's right. He tried to do a Bible movie.
Yeah, that movie fucked me up for a hot minute. So like, because like there's a scene in that movie that I think I might have talked about on the podcast, but I don't remember. So there's a scene where like,
is it the goat?
Yeah, the little like
you
weird...
talked about it on the thing.
Okay, yeah, and it just like the goat makes this like horrid screaming sound.
Yeah,
it's getting ripped apart, and I'm just like, somebody had an interesting childhood.
He likes baby things getting ripped apart, doesn't he?
Yeah, like the perversion of innocence or something like that.
Yeah. So
that kind of carries on into this movie, maybe a little more relaxed in certain parts, but we'll get to it. So obviously, I only have one con for this movie, and I'm just going to get it out of the way right now.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't really like the movie.
I only had one con for it because I took the movie a lot differently than a lot of other people took it.
Yeah, because I was severely disappointed in what it was and what it ended up being than what was advertised.
Right. Well, and that's Darren Aronofsky. He's kind of like Neil Blomkamp in that, like, you have to really like appreciate that, like, what he's doing, if that makes sense. Like, they both have very like arbitrary ways of directing and making movies.
Yeah.
And it's for, and obviously, you know, like, everyone can say they like Die Hard, but if you have to be a certain audience member to like and have certain taste to appreciate both movies. Same with Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah.
So my only con that I've had with it was that, and it's probably the biggest con throughout the movie, is that although Jennifer Lawrence does play a very sympathetic role, and that's who she plays, is a sympathetic person, someone you feel bad for throughout the movie. Her portrayal comes up very vanilla sometimes. It's just kind of like really bland. Like, and at some points, like, you can tell like that's how she's supposed to come off. But for most of the part, it's just kind of like she doesn't really jump off the page.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of like there staring at the characters, and it's just, you're gonna say something, you're gonna do something, champ. And so that was kind of the big con with it, and it's just that's just what's weird and what threw me off. Now, that being said, I do have a lot of pros for this movie. Now, I took this movie a lot more deeply than how it comes off. So, first off, the movie is set in this absolutely gorgeous house in this field of green, somewhat swamp-like area. Somewhere that you would probably see, like, in Florida, more than likely. And it's just a really beautiful house. Like, it's a very old-time plantation looking type of house, and it's gorgeous. Like, it's an amazing house. Like, I got super jealous looking at it. And the film does this really good job of using those close-up camera angles that we've talked about way back. About like how like they do very like close shot camera angles, like to corners, so you can't see what our protagonist sees. Yeah. So it makes you feel more vulnerable, then it makes them feel more vulnerable. Yeah. So it does a really good job of like doing that with the wife's perspective, because that's what it focuses on mostly. It's just her running through the house, going around sharp corners, and like it kind of like makes you tense in certain parts because you think something's going to jump out. Which probably is a con I should add to it, is that there isn't really any jump scares or anything. It's a very slow burn of a movie. Yeah. But it does a lot of close up angles, and it does it well, and it really just does help with amping up the tension throughout the film. And as the film goes on, it's you start to get this peek into the world and the relationship that Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem have with each other as husband and wife, because Javier Bardem plays as a writer who's struggling with his writer's block to make like the next hit for him in his life, because he brings home the bacon and whatnot, and you can kind of like see that he's losing motivation to do anything because of his writer's block, especially anything for his wife, and becomes very self-centered in a way because of it. And so because of that, the film does a really good job at making you sympathize with the wife as she's like getting continually uncomfortable as you know, situations arise within their home, because Ed Harris eventually comes to the house and is playing a doctor, and Javier Bardem's character says, hey, yeah, you can stay here, that's fine, without consulting the wife, because Javier just, you can tell that he's trying to branch out and get more people into his life, because he doesn't feel like he's being fulfilled with his wife, although he's not, like, he does it from a subconscious angle. Mm-hmm. And and that's why he starts letting all these strangers into their home. He's like, yeah, let's have more people. You know, this will help me with my creativity, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you can see that Jennifer Lawrence's character is getting more uncomfortable, and it really makes you sympathize with her.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if he was focused on Javier, he's like, oh yeah, yay, friends. You know, it's like, why is the wife being such a bitch? But instead, since it's the opposite way around, it's like, oh no, friends, why is the husband being such a bitch?
Yeah.
So, kind of aspects. and then so, as more guests arrive, so like Ed Harris's wife's character and their sons show up at some point, and the sons start fighting over the dad's will.
Yeah.
Like they the sons get into a fight, and it's like it kind of becomes this like own movie within a movie, mm-hmm. where it's like a family like intense drama out of somewhere.
Yeah.
And so what's really kind of like cool about it is that if you don't really take it as deep as I'm going for, then yeah, it's going to seem like an annoying like distraction throughout the film. Is that it does this good job making Jennifer Lawrence's character feel like she's in a movie that she isn't involved in. She's just being forced to watch it play out. She's being forced to watch these sons fight over the will, get into fights with each other, and this family break down in front of her, and like her husband's just being the mediator, forcibly being the mediator throughout it. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like very surreal and cool in that aspect. It's like Inception, a movie within a movie.
Yeah.
And so this movie, I'm going to go now to points where I feel like this movie is a lot more where it went over a lot of people's heads, and maybe I'm wrong about how I'm taking it, but this is how I perceive the film. So this movie comes off as it like it's spanning over a couple days, but really I think it's going over years of their life together, because mm-hmm. The topic comes up between the two of them of like, when are they going to have a child? And then out of nowhere, she kind of gets pregnant really quick.
Yeah.
And then she gives birth really quick too. And normally this comes off like it's only been like a week. That's not possible. Well, I've looked at it kind of as more deep into the psychological aspect of that the wife is in a relationship with a narcissistic person who's a selfish lover and selfish within their relationship. And so throughout the years, she's been trying to consult with her writer of a husband who's continually getting famous, that she wants to just have a family, and she wants to have that close security and just them be private. Let's have private lives. You know, you care more about being famous, you care more about your fans than you do about this family. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how it goes throughout the year. That's what it feels like. It's going through the years of him climbing up, becoming a famous writer, and like fans who, in her eyes, she perceives that they see him as like a god or a leader of some sort, because they're fanatics for him. And so for me, like the idea of the movie is that it's more of just the writer who is struggling to create, and his wife is like secondhand suffering through it. Because they don't have sex, he barely touches her, he's secluded in his office, all because he has a writer's block. And she's just like, there's this metaphor throughout the film of like, where she puts her hand on the house. And the house itself is like a metaphor for their relationship and their marriage. And it shows throughout the movie of the heartbeat within the house being red and vibrant to slowly becoming dark and decay. And you see it becoming more dark and decayed as he becomes famous and starts ignoring her even more. And she starts to see that their relationship starts to become a shell of what it used to be. And that's just kind of what it also comes off of, is that it shows the sacrifices she makes for her husband's career. And like, I'm going to go ahead and somewhat touch on an ending here.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the movie yet, or if you have, you probably know what I'm going to talk about. It's not a big spoiler, because again, this is mostly a metaphor. So eventually, she does give birth to the child, and the husband wants the child, but she doesn't want to give him the child, and so she doesn't want to give him the child because she wants that privacy of family.
Yeah.
She doesn't want the child to be in the fame spotlight.
Yeah.
And to go a little more clear, that's kind of why all these people start going in the house, is that they are the metaphor of, this house used to be secluded. It just used to be this small little family. But as the husband kept becoming more of a public figure and becoming more famous, he's letting in all these people come in. Mm-hmm. He's letting all these famous people come in. Or not famous people, these people come in to adore him because of his fame. And because of that, she doesn't want her kid to be in the fame spotlight. She wants him to have a normal private life.
Yeah.
And
limelight.
Yeah, exactly. And so eventually he gets a hold of the child, gives it to the fans, and the fans end up eating the child. They don't show like them eating the baby, but it shows like the rib cage and like the intestines of the baby that was left over. And as shocking as that is, again, Darren Aronofsky style, to me it's a metaphor that the baby died, or maybe there was a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And because of that, instead of keeping that secret and private, the husband was more than willing to just give that to the fans and give that to the public and let that be in the public side. And so for her, that's kind of like when their whole relationship just took a turn, and that she looks at him and she's like, "You're insane. Yeah. Like, we used to be a happy couple.
Yeah.
Like, we used to be secluded and happy and private with our love. And now because of your selfishness and your narcissism, now it's not only killing the house that we built, thus like the metaphor for their marriage.
Yeah.
But now now our child's gone, and all you care about is your fame.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of that. It's this big psychological metaphor for not just someone being forced into depression due to someone who's very narcissistic and manipulative, but it just shows kind of how much weight that someone is taking on for someone else just to chase their dreams.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like that isn't always the case. Like, obviously in the real world there's healthy relationships where people can support their spouse taking their dreams, but this is more on the extreme negative side of it. And that's just what this movie really shows, because there's parts where she starts to get migraines throughout the film, and you can see mold like kind of growing on the house, and then it retracts, and that's more the metaphor. She's trying not to see the things that are wrong with their marriage, that are wrong with their relationship. So it kind of insinuates that she takes medicine, or she drinks like a very it's a yellow liquid. So you can say that it's either medicine or alcohol. Yeah. And she takes that every time that she doesn't want to face the fact that she doesn't live in a perfect household. Yeah. And so you see her go from this aspect of being very quiet and reserved to saying like, this isn't okay, to finally she gets pushed to the edge to where she, breaks down. She's like, I fucking hate all of you. Get out of my goddamn house. You're fucking insane. And then the public turns on her and beats her up, which is kind of also a metaphor for them saying, oh, she was always crazy. Why would she snap like this? Yeah. And no one ever really looked at the fact that she just wanted a happy marriage. Yeah. That she wanted her family life to be separate from her husband's career. Yeah. And then, so I can touch on the ending itself. I don't know. It's not like a big spoiler, because this movie is just a giant metaphor for toxic relationships and the psychology behind it. And so eventually what happens is that the wife kind of metaphorically dies, and so the husband keeps asking more and more from her throughout the entire movie, and so the last thing he asks from her is, give me your love. And she's like, fine, just take it. Like, you can see, because she's just like, just take it, just take it. So he pulls out her heart, which is this rock, and he replaces a broken rock with this rock, and then the house is reborn, and he has another wife. And the movie starts the same way that it started this time with Jennifer Lawrence, with her waking up with this new woman saying, hey baby, like, where are you? And so that's kind of what the metaphor for is, that he keeps demanding so much from his spouses, And he keeps demanding so much from them, and yet he's a selfish lover in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to keep taking from them and taking from them and taking from them until they're just a hollowed out shell of what they used to be.
Yeah.
Now there's some scenes in the movie where like there's like a World War II kind of like fight going on, and to me that said two things. It's either one, the war that goes on within the wife's head of like love and acceptance and not putting up with this shit anymore and just seeing what's wrong with the relationship, and also just kind of the fights that they have in general.
Yeah.
Like, she still tries to see the good in her husband, even though he's being very selfish throughout the entire time. And this is probably the most, like, deep philosophical movie I've ever taken apart.
Yeah.
And so, at this point, you're like, all right, Matt, these are really good points. I see what you're talking about. But why should I check out this movie? Well, fact of the matter is all the metaphor stuff aside, it's a well-done movie. It's a slow burn, and, of course, it's 2 hours long, and I had to pick the 2-hour-plus movie.
Yep.
And it's just a really good, unsettling, creepy movie. And I would say this is one of those horror movies that you really want to plan to watch. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you're in a testy relationship, not with your significant other just yet, or maybe you should. I don't know. But it's just a good, solid like horror film, and it's probably one of Aronofsky's better films, and I will stand by that statement because it's well done, it's well made, and it's. If you take it for face value, it's going to go right over your head and not make any sense. But if you take all the things I said, it's worth it. The amount of gore I'm going to give this movie is a solid 1 out of 5 buckets. Because there isn't a lot of gore. Like, the most gory part is just the leftover carcass of the baby.
Yeah.
And so for that, it warrants a solid 1. I'm not saying that I like baby carcasses. But I'm just saying...
It's not no feast.
It's not no feast. No feast is a solid 5. But yeah, this is a 1 out of 5 buckets of gore for me, and yeah, I definitely recommend check it out. Try not to take it for face value. I mean, you're gonna enjoy it. Right now, if you have Amazon Prime, it's on Amazon Prime for free. So it's I mean, just sit through it, check it out, and it's a 2-hour 1-minute runtime. So with that, I'm gonna pull up some trivia for the movie. So throughout the entire movie, no one's name is ever mentioned, and not a single character is ever referred to by any name. The way they are listed in the end credits is by their given role in the story. There is no musical score for the film, and not a single bit of music appears in the film whatsoever until the end credits, where the End of the World plays covered by singer Patti Smith, although there's a piece of music being played in the background before the chaos scene. And then another one. So Darren Aronofsky was embarrassed about the mural being painted over the historic piece of art and apologized on behalf of the ad agency. Apparition Media, a spokesperson for the agency, said they were unaware of the iconic nature of the mural and regretted their terrible mistake. And then since then, the agency has since contacted the mural's original artist and offered their help in restoring the artwork to its original film. Huh. That's nice. Good for them. Any you want to read out?
No.
So, oh yeah. So I guess these are all. So I guess what happened was that the movie's marketing team came under a good amount of fire after they hired an artist to paint a mural of the film in Sydney, Australia. Apparently, the mural covered up a 20-year-old painting by a local artist depicting animals and a cityscape below the worlds. It's like jungle sometimes. This line refers to a song by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. So that's what they were talking about. That's interesting.
Okay.
So I was like, what controversy? I'm like, oh. But that's really cool that the agency was like, sorry. Let's
our bad.
Let's help you fix this up. So yeah, that was my movie review for Mother. So yeah.
Nice.
All right, buddy. So
all right. So this was a really good. So I did my movie, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Synopsis: a father and son, both coroners, are pulled into a complex mystery while attempting to identify the body of a young woman who is apparently harboring dark secrets. It's directed by Andre Orvidal, written by Ian Goldberg and Richard Naring. It stars Brian Cox, Emile Hirsch, and Ophelia Lovibond. So, yeah, this was a very, very underrated movie.
Yeah, I thought it came out like in 2018. I'm surprised it came out in 2016.
No, it came out in 2016. And so, like, this was a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Really, really fucks with you the entire time.
Right.
And so, I will give you fair warning now. It's going to be kind of hard to talk about this movie without spoiling some big things. But what I will say, because like me, because I made you watch this movie because you said you watched part of it, and I was like, you need to fucking finish this movie.
Yeah, it was. You were like, do it now.
Yeah. And so what was funny is like I wasn't even originally going to use this movie as my movie for this week. But, like, I was just kind of, like, wanting to watch a horror movie, and I just remember watching a top 10 on What Culture of underrated horror movies, and this was on there. And so I saw it on Netflix, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll check it out. I didn't even think it was going to be a psychological horror movie. And, nope, I was wrong. It was, and it gets you. And so...
Yeah, I mean, because it definitely comes off as, like, a strong paranormal movie. But...
Yeah, because that's what I thought it was going to be, but it's not. And so, what I will say, like, so, dude... It kind of, like, you don't get it at first, but, like, the whole underlying message to this movie, because I fairly soon when we talked about it in the last episode, is that psychological horror movies generally tend to have, like, an underlying message. And in this one, it's depression. And that even if you're trying to do everything you can in the right way or whatever, when it comes to depression, like, sometimes no matter what you do, like, you just can't get through it. And it's just like, and it affects, like, everybody. And so, like, I didn't get it until I didn't understand it was an underlying thing for depression until the father and son have a talk about the dead mom, and the father was like, I had no idea. She was always so happy-go-lucky. She never put on she always put on a face.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, when he said that, I was like, oh, this whole thing's about depression. Because, like, it hit me because, like, I ended up texting you it. I had to look up the message of what I told you.
You're just like, man, put on your Adele because we're about to roll in the deep.
And so, because I told you the whole underlying message is depression, and you thought it was the dad is always depressed because the wife's gone and slowly killing him and his son. I was like, no. Both the dad and the son are symbols of different types of depression.
Yeah, I didn't catch that because I thought it was that the son was like secondhand suffering as well from the dad's depression, trying to take care of him.
No, it was the other way around because the son always had to take care of his dad. Felt like he always had to take care of his dad. So
yeah, well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So
the dad suffers type where everything is his fault, and no matter what he does, it's not good enough. Like he's been trying to teach his son the traits of being a good coroner and stuff like that.
Or is it coroner? I thought it was mortician.
Coroner.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Mortician just gets the bodies ready for a funeral. Coroner has to find the cause of death.
Oh, I thought they did both.
No.
Well, in this movie, I thought they did both.
No.
Okay.
God.
Jeez.
And then his son is the familial burden. You know how everyone has to take. They feel like they have to take everything on their shoulders to help.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to their family, like, I have to make sure he's okay. I gotta make sure, like, I can't leave unless he's okay. And, like, you see that when he tells his girlfriend, like, hey, I gotta help my dad with this autopsy.
Yeah.
Like, I can't let him do it on his own, even though his dad was like, go on your date. Go on your date with your girlfriend.
And his girlfriend, Emma, is just like, he's gonna be fine. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it for years. Like, you said that you would start letting go. Yeah.
And then he was like, no, I can't. And it's because, like, he knows his dad's sad about his mother's death and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then he, like, caves in again, and she caves in for him. Yeah,
so I didn't like the ending at first. Like, I thought that was going to be a con for me until it hit me at the end of the movie. But I was like, oh, this is all about depression, that no matter what you do, like, it's not going to be a happy outcome, like,
right.
Because it hit me about the whole, like, because several of my friends committed suicide from depression,
right,
and we never saw it. We never saw that the battle inside their heads, that they were having, and
right.
they just ended up losing the war, and so,
well, I mean, even throughout the film though, like it has like two separate metaphors, not just like with Tommy and Austin, Brian Cox, and Emil Hirsch's character, but the body of Jane Doe too.
Oh yeah, no. So like, so the body of her. If you notice throughout the whole entire movie, when the crazier things happen, if you notice her facial expressions, even though she's dead, quote unquote,
yeah,
they change.
Yeah.
So like in the beginning, like it's the very straight faced, when they're starting the autopsy on her.
Yeah.
And so, but then they lift her up and she has like a scared look on her face when they start getting more deep in, and that's when like the more fearful things start happening.
Yeah.
And then when the more malevolent stuff starts happening, they pull her down and her head like cocks, and then she has a very sinister look on her face.
Yeah. Well, and then like when they start taking apart her body, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm saying, so if you know, like, it's the small details throughout this movie, like, that really add into it. And so, and I just thought it was great. And like, they start finding little things that's wrong with her, and they like, they found out she had, when they open her mouth for the first time, her tongue's cut out. She looks like a fresh dead body, but her eyes are all fogged up to a point, milky, to a point where he said it's like, this doesn't happen for like a couple weeks of death, and she looks like she's just died. And I mean, you can tell what's going to kind of happen from the beginning of the movie when they first find the body, because like the people are like, oh, these people are dead, and it looks like they were trying to get out of the house even though they all murdered each other.
Yeah.
And then they found her body. And so it's just really good. And then just the small things, like every time they find something new about her body, something crazy happens.
Yeah, it was kind of like the most dark version of Jumanji.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, which I thought was good. Like, I just thought it was crazy when they like they had to like peel her skin off, and they see the huge, like all the like the diagrams and stuff like that on her skin,
all
on the
their
inside
like
of her
Asian
skin.
writings too.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, one of the cons I do have about it is like, I feel like some of the stuff that happened definitely shows the budget.
Okay.
So, the part where they're walking through the fog and you start seeing like the dead bodies or whatever starting to attack the dad.
Oh, okay.
Like, for whatever reason, that just kind of, it felt a little out of place, and I feel like that was kind of budget-wise.
Right.
Like, it just, I don't know, it just kind of didn't sit right to me.
Right.
But other than that, like, I really don't have any cons for this movie. I'm not going to go into too much depth about it, because talking about anything is like huge spoilers for plot points.
There's a con I want to get that's not a spoiler. So like, there's a point where like when shit starts happening, obviously,
yeah,
or maybe it's like a little more towards the middle of the film that like, so like so Tommy and Austin go into the elevator to try to go up, and they can see like this old like decrepit body moving slowly closer towards them.
The dude who shot himself.
Yeah, and I'm just like, look, I get this is terrifying, but that's a dead decrepit body, and there's 2 living bodies in the elevator. I'm just saying, why doesn't someone tackle them? Like, I understand it might take away the suspension, but old decrepit versus long and living so far. Mm-hmm. I mean, Brian Cox has got some meat on him if he goes full force in that thing. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I think it's also because, they're trying not to poop themselves of the fact that the body's walking around in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, and I get that, but there's 2 of you and 1 of it, and it's not like, and it's not even running. It's just like,
yeah, like, I will say that there was that, but like, other than that, like, the other thing that I liked about it is that they were really smart. Like, both of them were really smart. They're like, all right, well, we gotta, I think the only way to get past this is we gotta learn more about her. And what are you doing?
I'm resetting a reminder for me.
Oh, okay. But yeah, other than that, like, I highly recommend this movie. I'm not gonna go too much about it anymore, just because, like, again, I can't talk about a lot of the stuff that happens because it's major spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, because this is one of those like movies that's hard to review without giving anything away. Because usually, sometimes when we review a movie, like the big spoiler is more towards the end. Where this one,
it's everything.
This one is giving you like tons of chunks of spoiler throughout the entire film.
Yeah, and the twist at the end with the body's pretty good. I did not see that. That was totally out of left field.
Oh, yeah.
It works, and it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of piece it once they start finding, like, the, like, old English type stuff within her body. But like it's I definitely think if you want a good popcorn, like edge of your seat psychological horror movie, definitely check this movie out. It's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, it's free.
And it just is one of those iconic films that, again, why we do this podcast, they got horribly overlooked.
Yeah, it was horribly overlooked.
Because even like talking about Emile Hirsch and Brian Cox, they did a fantastic job acting in this movie. Like they did really good, and I thought it was going to be weird to have them play like a father-son portrayal, just because like I can never see them being a father-son, like an uncle and a son, but they do it really, or not uncle, an uncle and a nephew.
Yeah.
But like in this movie, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
Like I was impressed, especially since it's mostly the two of them that take up the majority of the screen time.
Yeah, and it's just them and the dead body.
Well, yeah, but and she deserves her own credit too, because she for staying still.
Yeah,
for that. But like two of them to carry most of that weight, like bravo.
Yep. So definitely check this movie out. It's on Netflix. Again, I know I didn't give a whole lot of in-depth review about it, but like I said, like if I go in any more depth, like it really spoils the movie, and you definitely need to just watch it for what it is. Like it's fantastic. It really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check it out. Some
interesting facts about the movie.
Some trivia. Sorry.
It's cool.
Stephen King said the film, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, visceral horror to rival Alien and early Cronenberg. Watch it, but not alone. Stephen King says you should watch it.
So watch it.
So you should fucking watch it.
Yes.
Funny enough, Martin Sheen was originally cast as Tommy, but had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts, so he was replaced by Brian Cox.
I think Brian Cox was a better choice.
Yeah,
Nothing against Martin Sheen, but Brian Cox fit the bill so much better.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. Although there are some prosthetics used, the role of the corpse, for the most part, was played by actress Owen Catherine Kelly, Andrea Overdahl. Yeah, Overdahl. Sorry.
That's cool.
Felt that it was necessary to have an actress for the part to help connect the audience on a human level. On some level, the decision was also a practical one, as Overdahl believes that doing some of the close-up scenes with a prosthetic would have been impossible. That's true.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's kind of cool.
What?
So one of the reasons Owen Catherine Kelly was selected for her role as Jane Doe was her knowledge of yoga, which helped her control her body and breathing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, like, she never see her breathe.
Yeah, good for her.
Mm-hmm. So just a little fun fact: the names John Doe or John Roe are for men, and Jane Doe or Jane Roe for women. Johnny Doe and Janie Doe for children, or just Doe, non-gender specifically, are used as placeholder names for a party whose true identity is unknown or must be withheld in a legal action, case, or discussion. So just in case you never knew why people call them John Does or Jane Does in movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is also Andre Overdahl's first English language film.
Nice.
So.
Jane Doe's body is extremely clean, even in the basement grave. In the morgue, her body is also extremely clean, possibly as part of the autopsy process. Interestingly, the soles of her feet are the only parts of her body that are visibly dirty, possibly from walking back and forth on the movie set.
There you go. So,
nice one, Owen Catherine Kelly. You couldn't even wipe your feet off.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, definitely check out this movie if you want a good psychological horror that, like, I mean, Stephen King even endorsed. You should definitely check this movie out. It's really good. And then when you see it, you'll kind of understand why I didn't go into too much depth or detail about the movie too much. But
yeah.
Understand, like, the fact that, but you have something going into it that'll actually kind of make you appreciate the movie a little bit more, is that the fact that the movie's kind of a metaphor for depression.
Yeah.
Because it kind of, like, helps out the movie a lot more and, like, really sells it home for me. Like, that's what sold it home for me.
Yeah, and I mean, we covered it in with depression and with narcissism in a relationship, and I mean, these are pretty good psychological horror. I mean, for me, like, Mother came off as kind of like a tribute to The Shining. Maybe not as direct, but that's how it came off to me. And the Autopsy of Jane Doe was way more deep than I thought it was. Like,
yeah, it was a lot more deep than I thought it was originally going to be.
So, I mean, it's solid. It just, both these movies deserve... for as much shit as Darren Aronofsky gets, I will say Mother is still one of the better ones.
Yeah.
And this Autopsy of Jane Doe is... we must not let it be a forgotten horror film.
No.
So it's got to be remembered. So do your due diligence. Go talk about the movies. Comment to us. Let us know what you think of the movies. Do you agree with my statements on Mother? Do you agree with Cody's statements on the Autopsy of Jane Doe? Yeah. Reach out to us on our Twitter at officialprhb. And if not, and you just want to join in on our listener participation corners and just be part of the community and be part of what's going on, please like us and follow us on Facebook. Search us up, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, on there. And then...
And on Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast. Hashtag PRHP podcast.
If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at the Undead Matt. And if you want to support the show and help us out and be part of some amazing rewards such as discounted merch, first access to merch, and Anna's half hour of power, or even just get episodes before anyone else, please go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/punkrockhorrorpodcast. And if you want to send us your creepy stories, which we still will do, we just haven't gotten any, but we'll still do them. We'll still do them if we get them. Or you want to send us your band info to come on our band showcase episodes, please email us at punkrockhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. For all these links and all the things that we talked about, you can find them below in the episode notes. If you're listening to us on YouTube, you can find them in the description. I mean, with that being said, this is a solid Friday, February episode. We hope you didn't have a bad Valentine's Day. We hope we could... I mean, it's past Valentine's Day now, but, we're here for you guys.
Yeah.
You can, you can listen to us whenever.
Yeah.
With that being said, you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Player FM, our website, www.punkrockhorrorpodcast.com. And, I think that does it for us.
Cool.
All right.
Bye.
Podcast over. Bye.
Podcast over.